What's going on? My name is DeQuarius Beverly. In today's topic video, we're going to be talking about how to overcome pornography addiction. Now, I talk about content that's going to help enrich your confidence, improve the quality of your relationships, help bring out the best version of yourself, okay? Now, in the nature of this video, we're talking about pornography, and I'm just sharing some of the tips and things that I've been able to utilize in my life to help reduce the amount of addiction that I have engaged in throughout the years. I've been free from pornography for the last 3 years, all right? Meaning that not engaging in any type of pornography in any capacity, on purpose, right? Because, now we got social media, we got so many different outlets where sex is just streamlined throughout media. And so a lot of things you can't control, but just actively participating and looking up particular sites, I've been free from that. And so I just kind of want to just share some tips in my personal journey in the hopes that it will help enrich you and yours. Now, if you're someone like myself, you probably may have engaged into pornography as young as you can remember. I know for myself personally, I can remember as young as 7, 8 years old, okay? Now, I had older cousins, I had friends that had access to certain channels. This was before the internet, before we had accessibility of getting the getting this type of content as accessibly as we do now. We had certain channels where my cousins and older friends had access to be able to watch these certain sites. So, it's something that, essentially I've had a custom of addiction to from as early as that age, right? And I know after the years as me maturing, I don't know if you feel this way. I know I have, where you just feel dirty, okay? You have a sense of, you just feel bad in a sense, like you just feel like unclean after you didn't finish it, like disgusted in a sense, after watching and engaging in such acts. And so for me, I realized that the detriments long term and what it plays an effect into as far as pornography is the fact that, yeah, it brings relief in that moment, but the long term effects concerning your discipline level, your purpose, and this ultimately your confidence level can be affected when you engage in such acts, okay? The disconnect that you have with the opposite sex and the false reality of what you think sex is when we watch such acts, okay? I know some of our parents don't necessarily teach us about sex, so we try to, look up sex for the research purposes to be able to understand how to penetrate, how to, please a woman. And all of these things is false reality from what you see on these type of sites. Now, I've met people on a professional level, right? Meaning these are guys that have actually been in the actual business, that have done it in real life, okay? And some guys that I know professionally, this is just verified information. This is tedious work in some regard. Now, yeah, it's fun and pleasurable in that time of doing it, but we're talking sometimes 10, 12 hours of just one scene that's being shot that some of these guys have to engage into to perfect the scene that the director is doing in that particular shot. And then the amount of money that you're making in time of you having to upkeep the erection and things like that. This is just what I've learned from people that have been in the profession. It is a lot of work. So a lot of men that do the type of profession, they are, it is a burnout in some regard. And then the fact, again, just being engaged in so much activity and being intertwined with so many different energies and spirits, this does affect you in your journey spiritually when it comes to, especially if you wanting to get closer with God. This can play a big factor into it. But ultimately, because we are sexual beings, it is pleasurable. And again, this is just no judgment zone. This is not for me to judge anybody, but just to bring conviction on something that you already know to do. Okay, understanding that these are all scripted, acted, and pre-edited type of content, okay? So you have to understand that, like, what you're seeing and what you think may be pleasurable is not always necessarily pleasurable for the person that's actually engaging in such scenes, okay? And also to bring also awareness too, which is also something that is a worldwide issue, is human trafficking, okay? This is really a serious issue that ultimately, that I understand that in certain companies that are engaged in this industry for pornography, some women and some people are forced against their will to do certain acts or to do certain things to help, take care of their families and things like that. And just from the works of what I've had, learned from just, working with people, who have been in the industry or just, were selling themselves prostitution in some regard, it's very degrading, in a lot of ways that, for people that are participating in such acts. And just, bringing awareness to human trafficking is something that the pornography industry does engage into, for someone who's trying to, walk in a pure life. When you're watching in, pornography, you're pretty much participating in the human trafficking issue. So for me, it's just like, I don't want to participate by funding the money through my views to help fund this industry that ultimately has played a part in the industry of what human trafficking does play a part in with the pornography industry. Okay. So again, this is not for all companies, obviously, right? Some women are willing, there's some women, again, for the streets, right? But we do understand too that it is something that ultimately is about your personal journey. So understanding that, we have to get into that understanding that, it's really just about walking with a pureness and really walking into a place of a righteous life where you can bring a level of growth spiritually with your journey with God. Okay. Now, as I've gotten a chance to, grow in the Lord and gave my life to God, I realized that, engaging in pornography does bring a sense of conviction when it comes to sexual immorality. And just understanding that, when we're engaging in such activities, this does hinder our walk in some regard. So we have to really take into account for what we need to sacrifice for the greater good of our well-being spiritually, but also for the fact of our self-confidence, and understanding the disconnect that we have with the opposite sex when we are engaging with such acts. Okay. So this is just something, again, from a personal standpoint, that I've found, with me engaging in such acts, that this does hinder. So just for someone who may be in a place where you wanting to get closer with God and you want to be more disciplined, you want to be more confident, not engaging in pornography can help improve that a great deal. Okay. Now, some of the ways that I can tell you as far as helping reduce the amount of activity, because even in this journey, as you're trying to remove certain addictions in your life that are ultimately hindering you, that you feel in regarding to the guilt that you may feel after engaging in activity, you want to start putting yourself in a perspective to start getting disciplined as far as the lifestyle of what you do habit wise. Okay. Now, we all are creatures of habit. Okay. We do things by habit, by repetitious activity. So in order for you to change a habit is to replace it with another habit. So the way you can do that is by finding something else that can engage in your time, meaning that you can find a hobby, some type of activity that takes away your time where you're not idle. Getting involved in a community service, meaning that you can get into activities which going to the gym, going into some type of hobby that you can learn a new skill trade, something that can keep you in a place productively where you can be working on yourself, improving your quality of life, giving you some sense of purpose. This can help alleviate some of the time spent with engaging into pornography. Now, does it mean that you're necessarily always going to be perfect in the journey of you removing yourself from pornography? Absolutely not. In fact, you will regress at times, and it's absolutely normal to do that, especially if you're trying to break a habit. But the more that you practice new activities and finding your time load to be filled with different things that you can do productively, that doesn't cause you to be idle in your time to regress in those such acts, will bring you more fulfillment and ultimately reduce the amount of time that you have in engaging in such activity. Okay. So these are just some of the things that I've learned just in my life and journey, and just understanding that the quality of life without pornography has improved a great deal as far as confident wise, and understanding that if I can overcome this, and I can overcome other areas of addiction in my life. And it's just really, again, just transfer of activity, changing the mindset. It's really just having the mindset and the understanding to have the will to stop. And as you start to keep feeling guilty about it and understanding that every time I'm engaging in this, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling worse, it's not good, and you're telling yourself that, then you're going to start finding your way from a survival instinct, because we always try to avoid pain and go to pleasure. We can go into a place of understanding, does the pleasure of me doing this outweighs the guilt that I feel after it's done. And if you can set your mindset and understanding that you feel guilty every time you're engaging in such activity and having that remembrance, then it will help reduce the amount of time that you're spending into such acts, okay? So again, not to bring conviction. If you fall short, understanding that the righteous man will fall 7 times, but will rise again, okay? So don't feel bad. Understanding, trusting in God, and understanding He will help you in the time of trouble, and just allow yourself to, stay diligent in the things that's going to help bring the best version of yourself, okay? So again, my name is DeQuarius Beverly, all right? I share content that's going to enrich your confidence and improve the quality of your life. And ultimately, I'm just wanting to share my part of my journey. So if you do like this content, please make sure to subscribe. Tell me in the comments below how you've been working on your journey with pornography, if you are struggling, and if you are, have overcome pornography and you would love to help someone else, who is watching this video and reading the comments, make sure to tell a tip of what has been helping you in your journey. I'm sure the person watching this would highly appreciate that. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. God bless.